You know what I'm sick of these days? These damn... Well, that too. But these damn kids with their whole yeet scenario. What happened to the days of, what? Yeah. And okay. We need to sit these kids down and let them know that what they're doing is wrong. It's not yeet. It's the Lil Jon method.
I don't even know what yeet means. It's just... Ugh.
It's just a phrase yelled before one throws themselves into a situation. And I mean throw as in literal head first throw themselves into a situation.
Okay.
Well, yeet is an evolution of YOLO.
Oh, so that... Fuck. Ow. Callie, can you not?
You high?
She just came up and bit me. You know what? Because she likes the word yeet. This is what she does when she's running through the house. She's like, eat, yellow motherfucker.
Jones, stuck in my past, about to relapse. I keep running back to you.
And with that, everyone, welcome back to What Grinds Our Gears, the podcast. The only podcast where I have a surprise for y'all by the end of this entire recording. Because this is being released in September. Joining me as always, as I am your sex ed doctor, where you guys can get your sex ed video in the month of August, just so you know. It is IV. Joining me as always is, of course, the lords and ladies of an entire armada of demons, thanks to their Behelit and being part of Godhand, their hell beast known as Kali, and their other hell beast which is somewhere hidden, as they rule with an iron fist a ginger mafia the size of 18 continents put together, and they have Thanos on a chain as their gimp bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, Shweebe and Phoenix!
He makes a really comfy chair.
I have that bitch carry me around princess style. What are you talking about?
Yeah, when he's not carrying you, bitch is my chair.
And also joining us in the wings, she is a lady that has recently been through the sandy seas of Midgard, conquered the shores that is Symphonia, had her own thing fighting her alter ego of Jenny! Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the ruler, the grand spectacular, the once illustrious Keyblade master before she disappeared from the war entirely. Of Britopia's Brit!
Hi, everyone. I gotta give Jenny a 2 weeks notice anyway, but...
There you go. Put some cup in it. Come on. You got a few extra to spare. Put some cup in it.
Anywho, today, everyone, we're going back into the time machine that Aaron set up for us. Don't worry, guys. He'll be back next week. He's just out of town right now, and Sally's off to dinner with some friends, so it's not like they abandoned you guys. So, we're going to take the time machine because it still smells like Cheetos from when me, Aaron, and Britt went back in time to the 80s, to then talk about the totally radical and tubular 90s.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, today with the 90s, like what we did with the 80s, we could do many different topics of music, movies, whichever we feel like, or video games of the birth of the biggest console war that we all know today.
Yeah.
Guys,
Wait.
let us discuss this.
Wait. Before we do that, did you guys hear that Xbox actually had a chance in the console wars? And it's gone.
Oh, man.
It went by so fast.
Why you gotta be so real about it?
Okay, back to the 90s. Sorry. Do you mind if I start us off?
Sure.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was
Yeah,
the 80s.
Queen.
Oh,
That was
man.
a beautiful... I am terrible. I have horrible memory of years. But I do remember growing up in the 90s watching the TMNT show, reading the comics, and enjoying the video games. Video games particularly.
Mm-hmm. See, I was really late to the video game thing, but TMNT... Have you guys ever seen the original trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? The first one.
Which
voice
one?
actors?
I remember watching the live action and the cartoon.
The live action one.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
the one,
Trailer for that one.
the first one before they got their base in the sewers.
Yeah. The first live action movie, if you watch that trailer and then watch the movie, completely different voice actors.
Oh yeah.
They're
Oh, damn. I
so
didn't
different.
notice.
I was like, "Oh, that's not Raphael. What's that voice? What the fuck am I hearing?" And then, oh crap, what's his name? The
There's
guy-
Raphael,
the-
Michelangelo, Leonardo,
Oh,
Donatello.
Casey. Yeah, even his voice sounded weird, and I was like, you
What
can
happened
tell
here?
what happened here because it's still the same actor. That's not his voice. It looks lip synced. Leap synced is what I was gonna say.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
What I love about the original TMNT movie is every one of the actors who voice the turtles, the ones who are quote unquote in the suit,
Right.
actually also play a secondary character in the series. For instance, in the beginning, the one who is carrying the pizza is in fact Michelangelo.
Oh yeah, they did that to
So
each
there's-
of them.
During that scene, Michelangelo is in fact arguing with himself.
I know which
about-
one is Raphael.
Raphael, wasn't he in the
The
taxi
cab.
cab?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Raphael goes springboarding over the hood of the cab, the passenger is in fact the guy who voice acts Raphael. Leonardo's was the one who slapped April O'Neil. He
Really?
was one of the Foot Clan. Yes.
Oh wow.
And Donatello, I always forget. But he was in there. I do know they did make sure to cameo all 4 characters. So not only do you get to hear their voices, you actually, if you look carefully enough, get to see the actors' actual faces in the original movies.
I always thought when he was a Foot Clan, he was one of the people that groped one of April's boobs. Because that actually did happen in the movie when you kind of pause the frame where they're just
Oh.
breaking through the door. You see one of them fondling the right boob.
Well then.
Oh, speaking of fondling right boob, this actually does fall in place. Ghostbusters.
Oh,
There's a scene where,
the chair
yeah,
and the hands.
there's a scene
Yeah.
if you go frame by frame, Sigourney Weaver's boob is completely out during one scene because the hand grabs her and she struggles against it, and it actually pulls her shirt to the point that
It almost
she is
popped
no,
out.
no, it does pop out.
Does it?
There's one frame where she is actually full nipplage out.
Oh wow.
You
Yeah.
can tell they cut immediately afterwards, trying to get as much of that scene out as possible.
I should be all up in my whole feminist thing, but that titty though.
It was hot.
But how is it a feminist thing? Girls like boobs too.
I know, right?
It's just this whole
We
thing
are
that
equipped with our own squeaky toys, no matter the size. Eat, 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 eat.
it's just that every time I try to do something where it's just like I speak up for women, but then also have the whole thing of being a guy. Sometimes it's just like, oh, so the chauvinistic pig wants to be both things. I'm like, what the hell do you think you do when you're trying to degrade men? And then just try to speak about equality.
Excuse me, sir. I don't need you to mansplain to me.
Oh God, I hate that phrase so much. I don't need you to mansplain. No, there's no such thing.
Or how about this? If you sit on a train and your legs are not and your knees are not side by side, and you're a guy, you are showing a dominant position to every female you see.
It's
Have you
so
ever seen a female
stupid.
does it? They're considered.
About the whole man spreading thing? That was
Man
ridiculous.
spreading, that's what it's called.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Being passive aggressive to all females by taking up more than your allotted space on the train and by having that dominant pose. 'Cause, yeah,
Nobody cares.
So
To
dominant.
me, it feels like your balls would be
totally-
squished between your legs, so I'm okay with you spreading like that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
and
need that
that's-
space.
Provided you don't have a funk there, spread away.
man spreading is simply
Ugh.
5 inches worth
Ugh.
of space between the knees. So it's not like he's taking up 3 people's worth of space. He is really literally just has his legs open.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's what I always understood from that.
Back to the 90s.
Back to
Well,
the
yeah,
90s.
yeah,
Right,
anyway.
right.
Okay.
Anyway.
This is when feminism went from being about equality and fair rights for women to now we want to screw guys over and get one up on guys.
And that hasn't stopped to this day. However,
Yes.
they are a bit more demonstrative with it, using hot dogs and butcher knives, which I find to just be with the hot dog that didn't do a damn thing to you. Why would you do that?
I know, and they're gonna eat that hot dog when it's all said and over. So
It's
I
like,
don't
oh
understand.
my god, I want to eat that hot dog.
But I gotta chop it into little pieces first.
Ay, 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 ay. All right, let's move on to. I have a whole list. It's probably not.
Oh, I want to bring up something. I want to
Go
bring
ahead.
up something.
Wait.
Yeah.
But
This is for all those men who said I look fat in that dress.
No, not F, not fat with an F, fat with a PH, because you
They
were
don't-
thick.
Trust me.
that was
Trust me.
the term before thick. Oh my
Just
god,
fat.
I forgot about that. Oh my
Trust me.
god.
If
Oh
they're
my
cut-
god, remind me of Thick. Remember when the 90s was about boobs and not butt?
No.
I know, right? Now it's about like the hippage. I mean, they still want the boobs, obviously, but they've moved down to the lower spectrum. They're like, yeah, that's
That
thick, but they don't want the belly that comes with it. It's like, motherfucker, you can't have this and not that.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly. That doesn't exist. That's a Barbie doll. And I'm talking the 90s version of Barbie dolls where they were literally, they look like fucking polygons that were just fused together. Okay,
But-
I'm done.
The thing I wanted to bring up was the 90s all the way to the early 2000s had the best animation for storytelling ever.
Don't die on us.
Breathe. It's okay.
Case in point, Batman the Animated Series and Gargoyles.
I remember.
Oh, gargoyles.
You
Oh,
can-
cannot
like
have
a
that
button.
shit today the same way that they had it in the 90s.
Eh.
But it's
I love the gargoyles.
because from Batman the Animated Series being so dark and gothic, Gargoyles being so malevolent in how it was handled its themes, Spider-Man the Animated Series actually having Peter Parker be non-useless.
Yeah.
Man, they did have a lot of dark cartoons back then, huh?
Not to
Wow.
mention the imports of stuff like Akira to America.
Which, by the way, his
Oh,
name is
yeah.
not Kira. That's just the name of the actual movie. Don't call him that. That's rude.
Tetsuo!
That's an actual movie?
Yes, it's a Japanese movie.
I didn't watch it.
We had just found the other day this little picture that's showed Akira, the character in the red outfit. Not actually his name, by the way.
Kaneda!
Yes. And then it's got Zelda,
Oh,
Legend of
that
Zelda,
thing.
but it's got
Okay.
Link going, I am not Zelda. Yeah. That
That's
Akira
the
is what he's
character.
talking about.
The
Yeah.
90s
That's not his
definitely
actual-
was a good year for animation because it gave a lot of animators room to do everything they wanted to. Even stuff like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is one of the darkest periods of how Disney wanted to do the 90s, even though underrated, was beautiful in its execution of events.
Yes.
Everything about animation I loved to death from the 90s, and I might actually start doing a weekly series of stuff from the 90s, early 2000s, like maybe doing Jackie Chan Adventures every Saturday morning or something. I don't know.
Oh, that was a good show too.
But that was early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the Jackie Chan show. I didn't like the second arc when they got past all of that and they
Talismans
With-
are not important!
one more thing.
And then different movie.
Yeah, different movie. That was nicely put in. I do like that they made a huge chunk of the bad guys into good guys in the second arc, but they made the talismans, which were the main point of the first arc,
Unimportant.
all but useless in the second arc.
But they focused on stuff like demons and dragons and spirits and Oni mask and shadows. And
But it just made it to where you got to the end of the first arc and you see how useless they are, because now that the statue's gone, granted the demon spirit still exists, but without the statue, it's like, oh wow, what did we waste the entire first arc doing? Because they're like, no, you can't use these. That's bad. You shouldn't use these. They should. No, second arc, fuck it, everything. He's like, how many can I activate at once? Let's go with this.
Wow.
Let's get the rabbit, the dog, the goat, and I think the horse. Let's go all at once with this. Just how do I get these to work?
This was the Jackie Chan
Yeah, the
show?
goat. I think
Jackie
it
Chan
was-
Adventures.
I never watched it.
Anyway,
Yeah,
like I
moving.
was trying to prove though, compared to any show today, where it's just like subtly showing stuff like, for example, Steven Universe being the big show for LGBT plus things just now being a factor, just being inched in little by little. Compare that to stuff from the 90s and stuff like The Max or Spawn was on HBO or Gargoyles or Batman the Animated Series. They would have that shit straight in your fucking face. Even Hey Arnold, for fuck's sake, had an openly gay teacher. Literally in your face. And you
Oh man, I
should
forgot
accept
he was
it.
gay. Holy shit! Sorry.
They
that
even
blew
had
my
an
mind a little
alcoholic
bit.
mom on stuff like Hey Arnold, or a closet lesbian mom on Rugrats, or Ren and Stimpy basically being a gay couple.
Or just Ren and Stimpy being downright fucking scary.
The Ren and
God
Stimpy movie,
dang.
just the show itself was just every possible thing you didn't want on TV at
Looking
once.
back at it, the amount of just innuendos.
I don't think
Oh,
it counts as innuendo
no,
because
no,
that
no.
means they even tried to hide it.
True, true.
Oh
But
yeah,
if
there was that
you
one
didn't
episode from
understand it.
what's that kangaroo show? What the little kangaroo with the cow dude, and he like what became his
Rocco's Modern Life.
yeah that one.
I
That one. I didn't
baby,
really
I
watch
baby,
it, but
I
I know
baby.
about the one
He
episode.
works in a
phone sex line.
sex thing. As a kid, didn't get it. I was
Telephone
like,
marketing.
"We're
I could do
phone
that.
operator."
Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. Rocco.
Yeah.
Mrs. Big Head.
I'm nauseous. I'm nauseous.
Oh, love
Yeah.
that show.
No fucking
Love
clue.
that show.
No clue at all. None.
Could you say we had that same animation today that we had in the 90s?
No.
No.
The
I wouldn't
animation
say as
now-
close, but there definitely is some innuendo ones that I've seen. But I can't. I wish I could name them off though. But yeah, not as bad.
Yeah, but
But
those-
nothing
those-
like that. Like,
Right.
but to be fair though, I think during that time, kids were a lot less aware of innuendo.
Yeah.
Now they're like they fucking know.
Perceptive to. I mean, you got it. You got the joke was funny because the adults are giggling.
You just didn't really know why.
Exactly.
Now kids fucking know why.
they're perceptive.
Because we made the internet good for them. That's our fucking fault.
I know, right?
Yeah,
oh
it is.
my god.
We demanded better internet for our generation, where now these kids are just like, let me look up why this joke is funny. Bitch!
Speaking of the internet, I'm sure all four of us are old enough to remember a time
Dial-up
when you could not be
internet.
on the internet and be on the phone
At the same fucking
damn
time.
And
Yep.
that nostalgic, most annoying horror movie fucking noise. Sound like your computer was gonna explode. The only time I hear that noise now was the last job that I worked at. The fax machine made that, and I stopped what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, I'm being sucked back into the '90s. Help!"
So for every child out here that was made after the 90s, I hope you are fucking happy with how far we've come with the internet, you self-righteous fucks.
I actually saw. Speaking of that whole rant just there, I actually just recently saw this small video where they took 12 9-year-olds, sat them around a round table, and handed them the original Game Boy and a random game to play it with.
Oh dang.
And first of all, the first 4 kids they talked to didn't even know what the fuck it was.
What is this?
Like, I have no idea what this is. How does this work? And they finally got the on button. They're like, oh, this plays games. And then the next few were like the next, I'd say up until the 11th kid were like, you know, I feel bad for people in the past for having to play games like this.
Fuck those
should,
kids.
we should like make a time machine and go back and give them actual games.
Fuck
And
those
then
Wow.
another kid's like, I love it, but I hate it. I probably play it for like 2 days and then I go back to my iPad.
Fuck
And
this.
Then the final kid, which cracked me up because he was Japanese, that is important, looks at every one of the other 11 kids and goes, you need to show some respect, because without this, you wouldn't have your iPad. You wouldn't have games the way they are today. This is the grandfather of that technology. If not for this, you would have nothing. So show some respect.
If it weren't for us, these kids would have jack shit.
Exactly. But the
Exactly.
funny thing is, if you watch during the thing where they're showing all the different kids, they're panning to show what's going on. This little boy is playing the game the whole time while everybody else is doing their little spiel. He's playing the game and having a fun time.
I want a fucking Game Boy Color. I never got one. I got a Game
Well, I
Boy
have a Game
Advance.
Boy Color.
I know, but I'm
I
saying
had a Game Boy Advance too.
I
Hold
got a
on,
Game
hold
Boy
on,
Advance
guys,
in high
hold
school.
on. We haven't let Britt have the floor about her memories of the 90s.
Oh.
She has memories of the 90s.
Like you, Mr.
I was a baby still, technically, I guess. I don't know. It's, yeah. I was very sheltered. Yeah, I only had like so what the fuck?
There was the PlayStation 1,
yeah, the
Sega
PlayStation 1,
Dreamcast,
which at the time was just a PlayStation, which makes me laugh to this day still. The Game Boy Advance, Saturday morning cartoons is one for sure.
we don't have those anymore.
There's just
No.
cartoons on all the time now.
Yeah. Man, that's really all I can really think about. But 90s definitely was a starting, I would say definitely like the beginning of our generation.
The
Of
beginning,
how it is now.
the beginning of the suffering.
Yeah.
Of us
And,
watching.
oh my
these-
god, Hotmail?
Oh,
AOL?
Hotmail, AOL.
Dude, you've got mail.
I still remember MSN Messenger being the hottest thing, just like, yo man, I just talked to my friend from down the street on MSN while we were doing our homework. I'm like, wow.
Impressive.
I want to point out that the 90s was also the year that they spawned a lot of great trilogies or quadrilogies. Jurassic Park, Aliens,
Matrix.
The Matrix.
Matrix was
Which I
2000,
loved.
was technically 2000s branching, but still, yeah.
It came out
It
in
was originally
99.
released the end of 99. It
True.
is a 90s movie. But,
Just the first one though.
But we
like I
also
said,
had
it
some.
sparked the trilogy.
It
and that's-
sparked a lot of insanity in the population, which is why it's one of my favorite movies.
But if it
people-
weren't for if it wasn't for Ghost in the Shell, we wouldn't have had the Matrix though.
I love Ghost in the Shell. Maybe
good
that's
show.
just
I like
me.
that
I
one, too.
really liked it.
I saw a few episodes and I enjoyed it.
Oh, I watched
but
a movie. I
I
didn't know there was a
haven't-
show.
Oh yeah, no. Ghost in the Shell actually has like 4 different
I don't
arcs
remember which
or
one I
something.
It
watched.
has four different timeline interpretations, all the same shit.
Thank you.
Interesting.
I don't know which ones I saw specifically, but the episode I saw was the one where she ended up finding her old child body.
Yeah, that was creepy.
She
Yeah.
was an android even as a young age.
Oh,
so
okay.
what happened was her adult form found the original android and found it with the same kid android that she was in the hospital with.
Wait.
and that- Backstory for her.
Phoenix, hold on. I gotta do this disclaimer. For everyone here that's watching, Ghost in the Shell was an old anime movie before Scarlett Johansson had her whole live action interpretation. So it does come from a manga and an older anime interpretation from before you were born, children.
Yeah, if anybody's trying to deny that, you're on drugs. I'm just saying.
Like, I have to do that disclaimer for everything now. Just like, I remember when Godzilla came out for the first time in 2014. I'm like, no.
No, it did
No.
fucking not. I watched a black and white of that, and that shit was amazing. All right.
Gojira
Horrible
dropped
ass-
shores in the 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
became a national phenomenon since then, and then had that bastard version in the 90s called Zilla.
Ugh.
Ugh.
And how much power does the electric company have? I mean, seriously, how much power does the electric company have? They literally, bombs couldn't stop Godzilla. tanks couldn't stop Godzilla. Nancy Reagan couldn't stop Godzilla. One little power line. Godzilla's dead.
All right.
Okay, we have now stopped the legendary God Killer. Now
I
what
know
do
what
we
that's
do?
from. Hang on.
Come on.
No, it's from it. Hang on. Ah!
Beep, beep.
Richie, thank you. Oh, there we go.
That's actually a scene
I almost
from
called you
Stephen
Frankie. I was
King's
like,
It.
that's not right.
Richie Tozier does a Godzilla scene.
A skeet?
Yeah.
He does a skeet?
Skeet, which is a scene and a skit at the same time.
Skeet, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, early, like basically since the 90s, still going to like the early 2000s, we have to still say that we had good comedy shows too, like the Chappelle Show.
I love the Chappelle Show. That was awesome.
And
What
the
the
people
fuck is
were
a
still
movie?
just like, I was just, since I'm a minority, I was just kind of laughing when they point out that white people didn't know what skeet meant. I'm like, really?
He wasn't wrong.
They did not know what it meant, but allowed it on the radio? I swear,
Yeah.
people probably just like, my God, what have we done?
All right. I'm going to list off some 90s movies, at least the ones that I know and have either watched or didn't watch because I didn't fucking want to. But I'm just going to list them off and then we can just go from there. Titanic, I watched. Jurassic Park. I didn't watch Forrest Gump because that involves a lot of sad shit that I don't care for.
Okay,
Matrix.
Jenny, I'll watch over the AIDS, baby.
Ugh. 10 Things I Hate About You. I saw that later in 2000 something.
I didn't
Lion
even need to watch it. It was based
Me
off of
too.
a William Shakespeare play.
Oh, was it?
Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, okay. Then there was Lion King 1, Toy Story 1, The Sixth Sense. I went too fucking far. Stop it.
dead people.
Home
That was a
Alone
good
1.
movie.
Oh my god, me and my sisters fucking loved that movie. We loved the crap out of 2 as
Wait,
well.
wait,
but
wait.
What?
What's in the box?
What's in the fucking
Right,
box?
It came out in 95.
Ooh,
That was a gross movie. I will not watch that again.
Ooh, Terminator 2 came out in 91. That the whole Terminator
Oh
series
my
I
God.
enjoy.
Scream. I watched that in the later 90s because it actually came out in 96, but I watched that a bit with my cousin and I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? Because I had never seen a horror movie, so I was like, this is weird.
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. That's one of my favorites.
like a lady.
Oh, rest in peace.
Dude looks like a lady.
Jumanji.
Oh
Love
yeah.
Jumanji. That came out in the 90s?
Aladdin. Why do we keep going to the movies with,
Robert Williams.
Jumanji's fucking awesome. The Blair Witch Project came out in 99. I never watched that.
I haven't seen that either.
Wait, should I bleep out the name or?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
Phoenix.
I truly don't care, but
Yeah,
for posterity.
yeah,
Yeah.
for posterity. Okay, Phoenix explained to me exactly the whole premise behind the Blair Witch Project. I think I'm good for all 3 or 4 movies that came out afterwards.
Here's the thing: if you watched it during when it was first released, and you were under the misconception that it was real, that everything about this was real, that this is actual footage that was found in the woods, this actually happened to those kids. Yeah, shut up. I was a kid.
Then it was scary as shit.
It actually was scary at the end when the big reveal happened, and yeah, that actually made me jump. But literally, I walked out, and somebody walked out and goes, "Yeah, no, all that was fake."
Yeah.
As soon as I went, that was the stupidest movie I've ever wasted my time on.
No. The stupidest movie people have wasted their time on is The Room.
Didn't watch it. So
Haven't seen it.
I will just make sure
Yeah.
not to watch it. How about that?
Is it as bad as Cube?
The Room, made by Tommy Wiseau, is listed as one of the worst, if not the worst movie ever
Oh.
made.
Wow.
I talked about
Good
that
story
movie.
there, Mark.
No.
You're
Why
tearing
did you
me
say-
apart, Lisa!
Oh my god. That is that movie that Pewds was talking about.
Yeah.
He loves it because it's so trash.
It's so awful.
Oh my
I'm
god.
really tempted to watch it myself. But
It's
do I
on
really wanna
YouTube if you want to
waste
find
my
it.
time?
The
Oh
entire
my
movie's
God.
on YouTube if you want to look for it.
Oh damn. Okay.
That's funny.
I'm going in. Wish me
Alright,
luck.
You even get to see him
Tell my
have-
family I love them.
You even get to see him in the film fuck a girl's belly button to make it look like they're having sex. Just like you see his butt crack as he's thrusting into the belly button, because the vagina's nowhere near the stomach, so he's definitely penetrating the belly button.
Ugh. Oh, thank you.
This next movie actually made me cry, and to this day, still gets me every time we get to the ending of it.
Armageddon.
At the end, when, spoiler alert, the father doesn't get off the rock.
Yeah, spoiler for a movie set 2 decades ago.
He
Shut
cries
up.
every
It gets me, and it's not like full bawling, but I do tear up because I think it is amazing when somebody truly gives their all for their children. I really enjoy that premise. And seeing as how my father was the way he was, not there, seeing another dad actually go the distance for their kid does honestly get me a little in the heart.
A little?
Shut up. We will not talk about the train to Busan.
No, I understand.
We
But
will not talk about the train to Busan.
we won't. Then
Ooh, I
Independence Day.
gotta show that to somebody. Ooh, that's gonna be good. Ooh, Independence Day. That's when people started comparing me to fucking Will Smith. That and Men in Black.
They're just punching the shit out of aliens.
You
Right.
are
Welcome to
Will
Earth.
Smith. I know what you're
That
talking
definitely was an era for Will Smith.
Yes.
Wild Wild West, Men in
No,
Black.
we do not talk about Wild Wild West.
Dude, I loved that
love
movie. That was
that.
one of my childhood movies.
That
Can't
got
diss
so
on
many
that one.
Razzies that even Will Smith had to do an apology. He had to turn down The Matrix to do Wild Wild West. He was gonna be Neo instead of Keanu Reeves.
I still think Keanu was a better choice for that movie anyway. Maybe because I just like Keanu better, but I don't know.
I think I honestly, you know what? If he had done The Matrix, I don't think he would have ever done Hancock.
Oh,
So
true.
we
Oh
still get to see
yeah.
him be all that badass and then some. Hancock.
Oh,
But
Legend?
I swear, the 90s...
Or I Am
as-
Legend, I think.
Legend. Yes.
The 90s was definitely when people started saying that I looked a little bit like Will Smith then, and I'm like, no, I don't.
I could see
Yes,
it
you
though. I could definitely see
Like,
it.
I've gone from the evolution of I look like Will to nowadays, since Black Panther is super popular, it's like, you look like Chadwick Boseman. Like, I do not look like Prince T'Challa, you fuckers!
I wonder if that's just a coincidence that you're probably like good looking like the other celebrities, or is that racist?
I was gonna say, I think that's more bordering the racist.
That's,
Hold
yeah.
on. Let me get a list of all the black people you might look like.
I know.
Yeah? Oh, Eddie Murphy? No.
No.
Wow. Alright. Oh, come on and slam! And welcome to the jam!
Space
Yeah.
Jam! Oh my god! I don't
I
care what
fucking
anybody
love that
says,
movie.
I love Space Jam.
Yeah.
Cheesy
It
as
was-
it is,
There are a lot
I
of, like,
fucking
ways-
love Space
No,
Jam.
no, it was one of the lamest. No, let me take that back. Looney Tunes Back in Action was the worst.
Looney
cartoon
Tunes
movie.
Back in Action
Um,
was... it was okay. I like
Space Jam was
Jam.
lame, but I loved every bit of that lame from beginning to end. I loved it. It was a fun ride. They introduced Lola, which was basically kiddie porn.
Yep.
Because seriously,
Yeah, no.
let's put that much T and A in the movie and have it not even be a real person.
Like,
Yeah.
like
That's
between
where
her
Loki
and
came
Jessica
from.
Rabbit, everyone's just like...
Yeah, but Jessica Rabbit was animals.
Bestiality. We're good. More furry porn. Okay.
Exactly.
Like,
And then-
everyone was just trying to get their whole tongue action working for those two in particular for the 90s. Just like, let me just get my tongue work ready for when I go down there.
And then Johnny Depp played as Edward Scissorhands. That I
And
didn't
women
actually watch
everywhere
until
got
13.
the whole theater moist as shit.
Yeah, boy.
Like, I've known so many people that are just like, they had their first sexual awakening because of Johnny Depp in Edward Scissorhands, and they were only 7 years old.
Not for me.
No.
The first Johnny Depp thing that I watched and didn't realize was the Nightmare on Elm Street with you.
Yeah. No,
Actually-
Then later,
actually,
I
he wasn't
watched
in,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought you said Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm sorry.
No.
No, Nightmare
That'd
on
be
Elm
cool,
Street.
though.
He's the one who has the most spectacular death in any of the.
Oh, I
Freddy's.
know. I saw the movie. I even did a brief review of it because I plan on doing a full of it later on in my career. But
Alright. The next movie we're going to talk about is a personal favorite of mine, The Craft.
What's The Craft?
ooh,
Yeah,
the
see?
better version of The Coven.
The Coven was still good though.
I take it it's about witches?
Yes, what happens is this one
Sexy ass
girl
witches.
actually has witch blood.
Uh-huh.
These other 3 girls, they end up doing a blood pact before the sea god. And by doing so, they actually turn themselves into witches.
All
They
praise
find
Mobius.
They end up binding themselves to her blood because she actually is a Wiccan.
Uh-huh.
She has the blood of a Wiccan.
Which
so she
is-
has magic.
Which
Interesting.
inspired The Covenant, which had Sebastian Stan in his most role, not being offensive, like he literally made it seem like it was a super film of even gay people today are just like it was basically a movie just using beards. Before he became the Winter Soldier in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Holy shit, that was him. They also had the kid from another movie, Twilight.
Okay.
Party!
They had
Okay,
the
we
wolf
gotta
boy.
write down the homosexual community. Even though I have friends that are homosexual that know that I'm not sexist.
No. And you know what? No, because honestly, if we said, "Hey, Coven," they'd be like, "Wow, that is a movie."
I know.
They say the same about Twilight. They'd be like, "Oh, babe, super gay. So we hate love."
That's fabulous.
I mean,
he was
So-
fabulous.
Edward and
Perfect.
the little shifter boy, I could totally
He was
see them in the back of their trailers getting on right there.
All right, these next 4 movies that I know for a fact that I've seen and love, but I'm gonna save my most favorite for last. Braveheart, I enjoyed, but that's a fucking sad movie. If you want a movie that's gonna piss you off but make you laugh but make you cry, go and fucking watch that movie.
And I'll
And
stick
then
with
fucking-
Highway.
Wait.
What?
Also, most inaccurate representation of history possible.
True,
You
not
mean
gonna deny.
besides Pocahontas?
That's
Yes.
Disney. You have to forgive them for their inaccuracies.
No, we don't.
Yes, I need to forgive the anti-Semitic, white supremacist, racist, homophobic company that started
No,
by the
no.
blood of someone that literally helped out Ku Klux Klan members.
That was Walt Disney, not Disney. Disney, the company, is completely separate, and they have won that in a court of law. Walt Disney's shortcomings have nothing to do with the Disney of today.
And we can explain that about H.P. Lovecraft's history, why?
H.P. Lovecraft was amazing, but he's psycho.
He's doing the good
I like
stuff.
how Phoenix is just trying to defend everyone right now, just like, hold up, they're a saint. I don't want you to ever say anything bad about them.
No, because honestly, I like what Disney is doing now as far as their movies, like what they did with Moana, where they actually hired the culture to critique their film and tell them exactly how to do it so that it would be accurate to their culture.
That's because now Disney is filled with people who are open-minded, and
No. Disney is about the same thing they have always
they're
been
always
about.
about
That
the money.
money!
And the actual storyboard people are very open-minded fucks.
Actually, it has nothing to do with that. It has all to do with the fact that tons of litigations within the last 10 years have popped up due to the racist shit that has happened in their previous films.
Really?
And that's
Yeah.
not even
Oh,
to go into
so
all
that's
the...
why-
Princess and the Frog was
Ooh. Actually, that wasn't that racist.
no, it was accurate to the time period. But that's what people found racist about it.
But no,
the
I've
fuck
asked
did
black
you
people, they
win?
weren't that offended though.
Not the Creolan people. The Creolan people were like, hot dang, that's how we talk. That was the wrong accent.
That was the wrong accent.
It's a little wrong.
Picture that with a Creolan accent, and there you
I'm
go.
not Creolan. I am.
Down
I'm
by
Russian.
the bayou.
It doesn't work.
Damn by the bayou. Everybody just trying to get their whole sweet taste.
Was it white people getting pissed off?
Yes.
Who
It's
gives
mostly
a
white
shit?
people get
It
pissed
was
off.
white people that got pissed off at Moana. And the reason I'm saying white people and not us, because I am not a part of that white people. I fucking love both of those
Shweebes,
movies.
you are
I'm
barely
like-
considered white.
I wanted to
I'm
see the real
considered
story.
transparent. I'm so white. Okay, I am clear.
I want to see the real story of Maui, done by Disney.
Being
I want to see him
being
get
killed
cut
by a
in half.
vagina.
I was gonna say, do you want to see him go in a vagina?
Get killed by a vagina. Yeah.
Oh.
Ah! Trying to give people immortality. All of a sudden, vagina with teeth.
Vagina dentata. Vagina dentata. Ah! All right, let me get through these last was it 3 movies. Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. Wayne's World.
Party on, excellent. That is my mom's and my favorite movie. We fucking love that shit. It's so
Now
hilarious.
it's time for a flashback.
It definitely
Camera
was
one,
a
camera
great
2,
movie.
camera 1, camera 2.
We're having too much fun here, guys. This is what happens when you have 90s kids in here.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then there was Men in Black, the first one, which
Again,
that's-
with people comparing me to fucking Will Smith.
I could
Stop looking
totally
like
go
Will
see
Smith.
it then.
No,
Stop being black. It'll solve all of it.
I can't.
Weird.
If
That
I
was-
did, they'd just be like, you're under arrest. For what? For being Hispanic while driving.
Wow.
I honestly just flash back to Family Guy where
I'm
Peter
gonna
and
merge that one.
no, where Peter and Cleveland shifted colors
Oh yeah.
so they could hide from the cop. Cleveland turned white with red hair, and Peter turned black with darker hair.
Weird.
Anyway, other movies.
Okay,
Yeah.
the last movie that it has on this list, and I'm sure there's a bazillion more, but this last movie is my all-time favorite from Robin Williams. It's Hook. It is
Oh, that was a good one.
Robin
movie.
Williams.
fucking phenomenal. If any of you listeners, viewers, whatever you want to title yourselves as, has not seen the movie Hook, you are missing the fuck out. This shit is on DVD. This shit is on Netflix. This shit is on Hulu. This shit is on Amazon Prime. You need to go and watch this and enjoy it because, my God, out of all of the Peter Pan movies, which, mind you, I fucking adore Peter Pan. It's just one of my favorite movies, books. I have tons of copies of this shit. Hook is by far my favorite rendition of that story.
Robin Williams.
Adults, go watch it. It's amazing.
You know, sidebar for this whole thing, but we should definitely do an episode where we just do Robin Williams as an
Yes,
homage.
queen. Yep, we're gonna have to add that to a thing. That'd be cool.
Robin Williams.
Screw it. We'll have Robin Williams week.
Stop crying, Vinny. Oh my God.
I
all right.
can't help it. We lost a good
Specials.
comedian.
He's doing comedy specials in the afterlife. He's having a ball.
But
Right.
we don't have tickets.
He'll still be there. He ain't going anywhere. We'll join him. It'll be
Right?
okay.
He's dead. He's not going anywhere.
I mean, unless I turn into
And
an
now,
Too soon.
Einharjar.
to be fair though, even with as much laughter as he brought the world, it's going to be really hard for him to tell all of his penis jokes in heaven.
Actually, it's not that hard.
Well, I don't know how long they allow him to stay. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no. It's really not that hard. From when I was talking to one of my ancestors that actually went to paradise, this is not me trying to talk about my religion with you guys, because fuck religion. But when I was talking to one of my ancestors, they're just like, we have everything up in heaven. We even have a gay priest up in here.
Hell yeah.
I was
My-
like, I'm not surprised. What's his name? His name is Julio.
Love it.
Was
Perfect.
Tupac up there?
Oh, Tupac was up there.
Damn, that means he's actually dead.
He just
I was
went home.
surprised too. Him and Biggie, I actually heard them laughing together. That was actually kind of nice. But then I had to come back here because I can't really stay without breathing for too long. Otherwise people be like, oh my God, he's dead.
Hey, welcome to the party.
Like, no.
All right, now how about we move on to the video games?
The birth of
Of the
Sony's entrance into this console war.
Yeah,
Ugh.
boy.
And the end of Sega's run in the console war.
Yeah.
I liked Sega. I think they had a lot of great games. I'm sad that they honestly had to step out the way they did, but
And Nintendo was still the grandpa of the generation, just like, what? I have a new challenger? Well, I'm still a spry young man. Nintendo, your pants are all the way up to your nipples. Don't sass me!
well, go back to the games.
But Sony, Sega, and Nintendo were the ruling parties of the 90s to gear up for what we now know today of Sony, Microsoft, and Grandpa Nintendo.
Oh, and PC. Don't you dare leave PC out of this.
Right.
Oh yeah, PC
Well,
was
PC was
very
still
big.
it was still in like the woodworks because we had to deal with dial-up.
I
Yeah.
suppose, but remember there were PC games that you actually got like a shit ton of CDs for or whatever. Like I remember my dad playing this game that was made by I think Blizzard actually, but I don't remember what the name of the game is. But it was
Don't remind me
basically
of
like
Blizzard. I remember losing several hours to World of Warcraft when the beta version of Wi-Fi was invented.
it's the one game I still have not played, but I've been told by everyone do not play it.
You will lose your life.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft.
I
Yeah,
was
don't
like,
get
oh.
into that. It's not worth it. It costs too much.
I
And
lost
not
6
just talking
years of
about
my
the-
life.
He was probably talking about Diablo 1 as far as Blizzard's original games.
Oh my
or
god, that game is
StarCraft,
hard.
both of which came out in the 90s. And I am so... that was the beauty of Blizzard back in the 90s. They went dark as possible, and Diablo was a game where they gave no fucks. There's a room, the Butcher's Room, where this giant meat-cleaving demon with a giant meat cleaver runs around, and if you look in the room after you kill him, there are torn-up corpses of females, full nipplage. They're on spikes, there's ripped to shreds, there's intestines hanging on the walls. It is literally as gross as 32-bit can possibly get.
Makes me miss Silent Hill.
Nipple, 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 nipple.
It's as bad as they possibly could, and that's on level 2 of the dungeons.
It gets a lot worse from there, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
actually have to fight Diablo if you can make it that damn far. Remember the cheat for that game?
Oh yeah, if you reset your character and you
Yeah,
start
but you
the
can still
entire,
keep
yeah.
your fucking character. You can just start over.
Yep, you keep all your gear and
Uh-huh.
levels and just start at level 1
Yeah,
again.
boy.
Makes me miss
See, I didn't
Silent
play
Hill
that in
real
the 90s,
bad.
but I played it when you and I first started going out. So well, I was like, oh, cool. I get to, mess around with something from the past, which was awesome.
But it also gave us good video game mascots. Crash Bandicoot and Spyro for good examples.
Oh my god,
Oh,
yes!
what about
nipples.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
No,
Dude,
wait, go back to Crash and Sparrow. Nipples.
What
Nipples.
about
No,
no,
No, wait.
Mario and Sonic?
No.
We gotta include all the great mascots.
Wait, Crash and Spyro. Nipples. That was my thing.
But
Oh my
Sonic
God.
was around during like the late 80s.
Sonic the Hedgehog, the first game for the Sega, came out in '91.
But still.
But didn't they have like his cartoons in the 80s?
Yeah, he was a cartoon character originally, and also I believe a comic book character as well.
Yeah, Archie Comics eventually bought out the Sonic line to give him even stupider storylines. The people just keep telling me that if you get back into comics, start with Sonic. I'm like, fuck you.
Oh, if I'm getting back into comics, I'm starting with Spawn, Ghost Rider,
Hellboy,
Hellboy.
Deadpool! Yeah!
Oh, wait. Are all four of us old enough to remember arcade games? And what
Yes.
games did you play?
Yeah,
I remember
The
Street
original-
Fighter, the original Mortal Kombat, Galaga, that Caterpillar game,
Pac-Man.
Asteroids,
Street Fighter 1 and 2 was on an arcade system.
Doom,
Kong.
the first-person, two-player shooter game.
I
the one where
remember
you
getting
can-
a bootleg version of Doom just by using a weird coding program on MS Paint to get a free copy of the game.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's cool.
That is cool.
They also came out with Pokemon Red and Blue for the Game Boy Color.
The beginning
Nice
of
stick.
the Weeb.
Uh,
Amazing. I remember, oh my god, the original Mortal Kombat. My
That
buddy,
was when the ESRB rating started, kids.
I know, right?
That's why the
Because they were like,
ESRB
wow,
rating
this shit
started,
is dark.
kids.
Yeah, because I was like, shoot, 9, 10 years old. Me and my buddy Scotty down the road. I'd go over to his house because he had like a bazillion freaking SNES games, and we would just put them in, blow them on first when you're not supposed to do that. Put that shit in, and we just play and kill the crap out of each other trying to find out all the different moves. My God, that
Nowadays-
shit was gross. And I have never seen a skeleton have so many fucking shin bones. Where did those come from?
Magic.
It must have been centipedes or something.
Oh, I love fatality. Rips out spine.
Oh, wait.
what?
Wait, and then the one guy that goes in, whoopsie.
Oh,
I thought it was Toasty.
Oh, was it Toasty? I don't know. It always sounded like he was saying whoopsie. That was the PS1 version, though.
No, I remember getting in an argument with this. They're just like, no, the audio is Toasty. They played it over for me again. I'm like, holy shit, it is Toasty.
Is it Toasty? Whatever. I don't care. I still thought it was hilarious.
we all
as a
know
kid.
the sound. If you were in that era, you know that sound.
Right,
You know
it's
that.
the dude with the weird, the short hair, purple shirt. He just coming on the side, like, yeah.
There's the noise, and I'm out.
Right.
He was
who
like-
remembers playing the original Mortal Kombat, trying to unlock Smoke?
I hated
And the-
smoke, but I wanted smoke. I have
And the
no idea
original-
why I did that. I was like, I hated smoke, but I wanted
No,
smoke.
it wasn't. It was Reptile in the first one. In order to unlock Reptile, you have to go to this one fight. You have to fight to the end of this one arc, and in the final fight, what happens is there has to be the moon present, and the clouds have to pass across the moon 3 times during the fight, and you have to do a fatality
Reptile.
that throws your opponent off the edge.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the only way to
I was
unlock the
gonna
fight
say,
with Reptile.
there's no fucking way it was smoke because I have smoke.
Oh,
Mortal Kombat 3, you had to unlock Smoke.
oh, another thing. To everyone that is old enough to remember, the 90s was also the birth of Soul Calibur in the original game Soul Edge. When they were
Yes.
competing to get the actual Soul Edge that was hidden underneath the sea, where Cervantes was the original person with the canon ending to get the blade that led to the story that we'd all know and love today in Soul Calibur.
Absolutely.
That was
A Link
definitely
to the
my
past.
beginning
Oh
games.
my god.
Oh, and Legends of Dragoon was also in the 90s.
Ooh, love Legends of Dragoon. Thank
Me
you.
too.
Oh,
That's the one where you played as the hero of light, yeah?
I
Dark.
bet. Wait,
That was
what?
the main character. Well, the main character is Dart, and then you had like your friend from this town, and you're like, oh, there's this black monster, which ends up like spoiler, to be like a party member that you get later, I suppose, or not really later. She's like right there in the beginning of the intro of the game.
And by the end of the disc, you lose someone very important.
It's like Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
No. It makes sense in
we're talking
Legend of
about-
Dragoon because unlike in Final Fantasy VII, the death actually made sense. In 7, it's just, oh yeah, we're just gonna have this one bitch get stabbed, and then instead of just, I don't know, using a Phoenix Down or a Cure spell or basic
Yeah,
medical
All
attention,
the
like,
things we have built
They
into the
definitely
game.
did. Oh,
it's just like, okay, there's no way to save her. What about using a revive? There's no way to possibly save her. We could use a cure spell. Red, stop talking nonsense. She's dead.
Well,
Cloud, I'm not.
the way they explain that is Phoenix Downs do not resurrect the dead, they resurrect the fallen. Fallen is
Someone
actually
who's-
a status ailment. It means that you have lost your health, but you have not lost your life yet.
She was
Really?
only stabbed, not even in the heart or the lungs, just where the spinal column was.
I understand. My point is, that's how they explain as to why a Phoenix Down would not resurrect
know
her.
what? I wanna
Revive
see-
spells won't resurrect her.
This still was a
I
stupid
wanna
death when you
fucking
just look at
swear.
it medically.
With the next Final Fantasy game that comes out, they have to pull a scene where somebody who should die, they go revive, and then they come back, and then the guy's like, "Yeah, fuck you," poof, and punches the bad guy.
It
I have
makes
to see
no
this.
sense
like-
medically. They literally could have just been like, well, Eric's in a wheelchair now. We have a wheelchair protagonist. And still kept her fucking around or something.
Hold on. They have already shown that they have synthetic prosthetic limbs. Why was she not cyborg from the waist down?
I don't fucking know. All I know is her death made no sense medically. It's bothered me for years.
Well, this was like what, 90?
7.
Fuck, was it 97?
Yeah, 97.
God
Yeah.
damn, that was 97. Jesus. Okay, I don't know if you.
6 also came out.
21 years. I've been very pissed off with this.
No, what makes it even worse is immediately afterwards, I believe it's the snowboarding scene.
Which you hate.
Yeah, dude, I was just playing that. I'm still doing the stream on my channel. And
So,
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, why am I playing this kind of happy-ish snowboarding after killing my healer? Man,
And now, at least Aerith is with her first boyfriend in the afterlife, which was the real hero of 7. Fuck you, Cloud.
The real.
You can't even depend on Cloud in that game, like story-wise, because he's just.
I
out
depend
of
on
in
Zack,
time.
damn it.
To be fair, the real hero of Final Fantasy VII,
Is the Moogle.
no, is the cat.
Kate
Kate
Sith?
There you
Yeah,
go.
he's the real hero. Who else would ride a? What other cat would ride a dog throughout the entire movie? Seriously.
Nice. Alright, I don't know if you three would recognize this game, but it was called Myst.
I recognize Myst.
You do?
I've heard the name, I think.
It's
I
a
just
puzzle game.
Never played it.
Yes, it's a puzzle game that I could never beat because I swear I must be tone deaf. Because when it came to the piano bit, I couldn't figure it out. This was a game that Dad and I played the crap out of. He and I were going back and forth doing puzzles and like trying to figure it out. I don't think either of us ever beat it. It was so good. This isn't even listing like every possible game.
Oh no.
But
That's because the 90s gave birth to so many beautiful things that it's honestly infallible about how much material that we have today thanks to all the shit that we've had from when we were growing up.
right?
All the
Yeah.
pioneers that we've had that come in from the 90s all the way to today, none of that would have happened without all the beautiful things that have occurred.
Oh yeah, like honestly, most of the sports games started in the 90s.
All
Tony
the good
Hawk's.
cartoons started in the 90s.
God, Tony Hawk's first game.
Oh, dude.
We need another
cannot
Tony
play that
Hawk
game.
Pro Skater, now that you mention it.
God.
We need a good one, not the BS that the original rights
God.
holder tried to pull with, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a game 3 weeks before we lose the license for it, and then we're going to sell it, and we're going to release a stupidly large patch the first
That
day.
is the actual.
That is
game.
actually the game being downloaded because they didn't have enough time in the 3 weeks to finish the game. So the disc itself is just the original demo on it. So if you play it without downloading the patch, it's just the demo.
Yeah, a lot of people were pissed off.
But yeah, all the pioneers of the video game franchise started in the 90s, all the animation stuff, all the big movie franchises that we all know and love today got the big inspirations from stuff like this.
Like Silent Hill and Tomb Raider. Oh my god. Well, no, not Silent Hill, but definitely Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider came
No,
before.
Silent Hill came in 99.
No, but I'm saying, didn't the movie come out before the game? No?
No, after.
No, I think the game
After.
came
Okay.
after.
I know Tomb Raider was that way. Fucking Lara Croft with them triangular boobs.
Oh my god.
And then
dude,
when
I
they
remember
finally
playing that
became
game and it
circular,
was
we're just
freaking
like,
hard as
God
heck.
damn, Laura Croft, just let one of the boobs just fall out of the bra and fall into someone's mouth.
I think she was getting tips from, what the fuck's her name? Madonna? Was it Madonna that did that? The thing?
Literally.
Yeah. She had like these spirally ass cones on her nips. I don't know. Oh my god.
I get it.
Madonna?
That sounds like something she would do.
Pretty sure it was Madonna. It was either Madonna or Britney. One of the two did.
It
and
was
I
definitely
like,
Madonna in
okay.
that case.
Ooh,
What?
another great game. Actually, 3 of them. Secret of Mana.
Yes.
First came out in 97. Beautiful game. Loved
Yes.
every bit.
Yes.
Then we've got Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics, the original.
Yes.
War of the Lions is what it was re-released as, but in the original it was amazing. Also, one of the few where you get Cloud where he's not a whiny douchebag.
So basically not Cloud.
Exactly. with blonde hair.
Nice.
It's an unlockable character. He's surprisingly difficult to get.
He's like an Einherjar from Fire Emblem.
Exactly.
I still can't get over that word, Einherjar. Thank you, Norse mythology.
I'm a hair
Yes.
jar?
No, Einherjar. It means like warrior of the undead that rest in Valhalla awaiting Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I am a hair jar.
And you can pay to summon them to fight for you. And
Einherjar.
finally, the third game, which is my absolute favorite because it's the only one in this franchise that did this. The Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars,
Yeah.
is the only Mario game that is an actual RPG, which included turn-based attack system.
Woo!
Love it! Oh, they introduce new characters like Mallow and Geno, and then they bring back old characters like Mario, Princess Peach, and Bowser. So you have all these characters, and Bowser's a good guy in this one, which is ironic.
Because he has to protect his baby mama, because they still doing it behind Mario's back, because Peach is still leading him on because she's a bitch.
Oh no.
We know
Peach has
this.
given Mario every single sign that she is not interested. Okay, you just saved my life from a giant fire-breathing scaly lizard. I'm gonna kiss you on the cheek.
And then make you a cake while I sleep with your brother to give birth to my daughter.
Yeah. So no. Anytime you get kissed on the cheek as a reward, that is a
Bitch, you
clear
done
sign.
been friend zoned.
Exactly.
She
Yeah,
slept
that's a
with
friend zone.
Bowser and he destroyed her wall 7 ways to Sunday to give birth to the fucking Koopa kids. And Bowser Jr. I don't care what the developers say. Peach is the Mushroom Kingdom hoe.
Yeah. Actually, in the RPG, if you go back about halfway through the game, you can go into her room. You can go in early, but it's not there. If you go into her room later in the game, there's a spot where if you search, you'll find an item that is marked with 3 question marks. And if Peach is on your team, she immediately slaps you and everybody leaves the room.
Oh, wow.
What the fuck is the item? Ooh.
Yeah, see, that's the item.
Yeah.
It doesn't say what it is. It's marked with 3 question marks, and you do not get to keep it in your inventory.
Yeah.
Just
Ooh.
Yeah.
what happens is if Peach isn't in the party, you pick it up and go, ooh, I don't think I should be touching this, and set it back down.
Oh my god!
Should I tell them?
That's so
love
suggestive.
that.
Should I tell them?
It's a fucking toad in the.
It's a thing in the shape of like a toad.
It's a toad vibrator /
They look
dildo.
but they're essentially penis people just walking around.
The other thing that I love about the Super Mario RPG is the Nintendo company actually got a hold of Square Enix before it was Square Enix, I believe.
Yeah, it was Squaresoft before the combination with the other company it's with now.
Exactly. So Squaresoft, which was the creator of the Final Fantasy series, they got the rights to, in Super Mario RPG, create a character that is specifically a reference to Final Fantasy. In order to get him, you have to find what's known as a mysterious crystal. You then go to the town of monsters, place the crystal next to a door, it unlocks the door. You go in, and there's this giant monster from another dimension who uses 4 elemental crystals to fight you.
Why does that sound familiar?
I know. It is a direct reference to Final Fantasy, the series, and his name is Russian, and it literally means chaos. So, it's basically a reference to the Chaos God from Final Fantasies, and he's in this realm. He says he's just a dark knight who has come seeking to take over the world.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. But it is honestly the most difficult fight in the entire game, and if you succeed, you get it. Nothing.
Of course.
There's no, like, if there's other fights that are similar where if you find the guy, you get to fight him, you get a rare armor or a weapon that makes it so much easier.
Nope.
This guy, no. You just get the satisfaction of knowing you beat him.
You know, reminded me of that. That kind of brings over the overall thought, like, video games in general back in the 90s. None of them have, like, You have that satisfaction of ending the game. There's no like, oh, there's bonus content after. Like the game was the game itself. There was no, oh, there's a DLC to continue more of the game. Here's this and that. Like all the games nowadays, you can keep playing forever or replay it just because that's the way they are. But no, 90s games freaking no. It's like, oh, you beat the game, you're done. Okay, here's a game plus, but otherwise, that's it. That's all you get.
And New Game Plus wasn't honestly a common thing.
No, or the one thing that a lot of millennials don't understand is games in the 90s, there was no such thing as achievements.
No.
Shweebes,
It's not.
fucking
No,
exist. You just
Shweebes.
played
I feel
the game.
ashamed now
Shweebes.
because I'm totally.
We are
about these
millennials.
things now.
We're talking about Generation Z.
No, I'm a 90s baby. I don't care. No.
No. Me and Aaron have had this discussion before where he's just like, no, we classify as millennials because from the cusp of the end of the 80s all the way to the early reaches of the 2000s, like 2003, 2004 being the cutoff date, that counts as millennials. And then Generation Z takes over, which is the new generation of today, who I want to kick in the teeth every single moment I speak to one of them.
Yeah.
They said that millennials are between the ages of 18 to 35.
Ugh.
So
Quite a big range.
yeah, apparently we fall into that. And not by choice, we just do.
Why was I born?
Here's my thing. Insulting someone based on the time in which they were born. I want to point out they had nothing to do with that. It's not like they were in the room with their parents giving a hand, giving them a nice push. That's it. Yeah, no, you're not pulling
No,
out
I'm not
tonight.
saying about when they were born. I mean, like, what they act like today. That's what I'm mad about.
Yeah.
I blame the parents on that one. Both
Yeah.
for the not pulling out and for the personality.
It's just like, this is for not pulling out in the first place. And this is for raising me a little shit. And this is for making me come over to your house in the first place. And not having food.
Or making me wear those little slippers, the little coveralls.
Oh my god, the one-piece
Take off my
coveralls. Where you have
Yeah,
to take off the
okay.
entire thing to frickin' go to the bathroom. Yeah, I remember those.
Hate those. It's like, okay, how about I just take off my shoes? No, we don't do that. You have to put this thing around your shoe so that you can continue to walk in the house in your shoes, because apparently that's comfortable. I get home and the first thing I do is those shoes are coming off.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of home and stuff like this, though, guys, I did promise you guys an announcement, and since I've been waiting to put this off in September, my whole family knows this, but I'm finally making this now clear for you guys here, and that is that someone in this whole, what grinds our gears, whole family crew, is said to be getting married.
Got money on my mind every day. Please don't play with mine, put it in the bag. Usually I can leave it in the past. You gon' make me have to show my ass. Ooh, I can love you till the sun comes up. Let me lay your body down. You don't even really gotta ask. I'ma love you better than the rest. Ooh, say something.